Okay. All right. In that case, let's go and set this up for Julian. I'm going to go ahead and share screen. All right, Julian. And I'm guessing you don't already have a Google Ads account, right?
I don't believe I do, no.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to log into my manager account, and we're going to add your account as a sub account. So this step you guys won't need to do because this is just like the account hierarchy of how the Google ad accounts work. I'm doing it this way because I don't want to retain control over Julian's account. I just want to help him create it and then link my account to it such that I can set it up now, but then I can turn over access to him. So this is not relevant for most of you guys, so you can just kind of create a basic account and you shouldn't have a problem there. Julian, what's the URL of your website?
It's called julianscouchdrops.shop.
Okay, you have a landing page for couch removal. That's great. So what are you more interested in? You think are you more interested in marketing your current inventory, or do you want to generate leads for free couch removal?
It'd be more for my current inventory.
Okay, let's check this out. So one thing to note, unless you set up your campaigns to be desktop traffic only, which I don't recommend, your cost per click is going to go way up. You can expect 80% of your traffic to come in through mobile devices, which is why I'm just viewing his website from like basically a mobile view here. It looks pretty clean, responsive. I think this is going to work. I think this is a pretty good example of what a couch flipping website should be. Like if you guys were multi-category furniture, you'd probably expect a little bit more detail in the sub-menu for products. But for him, he's just going short and sweet with it. Current inventory is what I have in stock. By the way, Julian, if you have Shopify, remember that the listing manager does integrate with Shopify as well, so you can publish to Facebook, OfferUp, Craigslist, and keep your website products all up to date using the listing manager. We also support Wix, and we're looking into Squarespace and WordPress, but that might be a little bit. All right, here we go. I thought I already did this. Okay. Do you have a LLC name?
Yeah, it's Julian's Couch Drops LLC.
Okay, cool. All in on the couch drops. Cool. Huh. And this is your group? Let's see.
Looks like it, yeah.
Can you name your group URL? That's a good question.
I believe it can. I just
haven't figured it out.
Yeah.
Okay. And
or maybe was that a link to Dylan's?
Oh, this is a link to Dylan's actually. Yeah. So we don't want to scan that. Let's just use this because what they're asking is, are there any online websites where we would want to pull assets off of the website?
I just put in general.
Okay. And do you have a Google My Business?
I set up one. I just need to verify it.
I see. Okay. Yeah, you guys, if you don't already have a Google My Business, I think you definitely should get one. So look, before I dig into the ads, like here's something I've been thinking about. The reason all of us are here today is because Facebook, OfferUp, and Craigslist has given us a platform to connect to our customers. Normally, attention is really, really expensive. We live in an attention economy. It's the most important resource. And if you want to get people's attention, normally you have to be flyering, going to networking events, paying for Google ads, paying for Facebook ads. And instead of doing that, we're able to connect to a base of customers that are interested in the products that we want for virtually free just by putting up a listing. And it's not just that, we're getting people's attention. It's the right attention from the right people. And I think the very first thing you should do is really maximize that free attention and just be really on top of your listing game. And keep in mind that it is important to diversify, right? And everyone has felt this from time to time where, performance on Facebook goes up and down. Sometimes you have a great month and you have a slow month. And I think when the people are feeling the pressure of the algorithm changes last year, that's when they realize, okay, we have to start diversifying off of Facebook Marketplace. So definitely take advantage of the fact that we have this great resource, which is a cost-effective way to tap into people's attention just by listing. And the way you should be doing that, I think we've discussed in depth in this group, is basically by spamming listings on Marketplace. On Facebook, we ran that experiment. We posted the same couch 5 times in San Antonio, Texas. The difference between the worst couch and the best couch was 80 clicks. The worst couch got 110 clicks over 3 days, and the best listing got 190 clicks over 3 days. And so that's a difference of 80 between the worst and the best. However, the fact that we were able to post that listing in extra time got us an extra 110 clicks. And so if you're not, the thing that you can control is how many times you post. You can't control how many views people like Facebook gives you, but you can control how many times you post. I don't think, even as we talk about Google Ads, that this is going to be the crux of your business strategy moving forward. But I think if it brings in an extra 20, 30% sales over time, that could be really good. And, the Google Ads combined with a strong Google My Business presence definitely has the potential of doing so. I know some furniture stores that actually have their business, their sales and marketing strategy primarily predicated off of Google search. So it can be very powerful, but keep in mind that you don't want to bite the hand that feeds you either, right? Okay, so so people can buy a product off of your website. It is a Shopify store. They can put a card down and check out, right? Yeah, they can. Yeah. So I feel like this is not going to be the most effective way of utilizing Google. Probably better if they submit a lead form. So you'd probably want to change your website a little bit. So, and we're just going to proceed as if this is like this is already solved on the web, on the landing page side of things. But yeah, I think I know some of you do have like e-commerce stores and people are actually paying you through the website for couches. But if it is truly someone's first touch point with you coming to your website off Google Ads, I think it's unlikely that they're going to put a card down and pay $600, $700 for a couch. I don't think someone's typing here. Collecting leads seems to be a better thing. Like, fill out a form, give us a call, type in the chat.
Do you think maybe like scheduling a showing?
Scheduling showing could be good too, yeah. So the way this works, right, the submit lead form, they're tracking conversions based on a thank you page. So let's say you have like an appointment booking tool, right? Let's say it's like Calendly. You guys can sign up for Calendly. There are other free calendaring tools, right? And basically after the page is submitted, it drives them to a thank you page. And so it would say something like julianscouchdrops.shop/thank you. Right. And then that's what Google is going to increment as a conversion. It's what it's going to use to tell that a conversion has happened. And so it's just a redirect that you would set up. And then Shopify, I'm sure, has some calendaring app that integrates with Shopify and then can kick someone out to a URL redirect. So that's how you'd go about setting that up. You could also, once again, there are phone call leads. There are other kinds of conversion actions that you can optimize your campaign for. For now, we're going to say set it up manually using code. So look, the hardest part about using Google Ads is simply the fact that there's a requirement to interact with your website. And needing to do things with your website comes with some technical lift that for your average bear, even for myself, right? Like, I don't know how to do all these things. Like, I have a team of developers that I work with to keep our website up to date, make sure our conversion code and things like that are working. So that's going to be the number one challenge that you guys run into with running Google Ads. But Google Ads are also very powerful. Google in general is still very, very powerful. I don't know what's going to happen with like ChatGPT and like how search is moving over to OpenAI and these other AI platforms. But still, lots of people use Google every day. And the reason why the traffic from Google is good is because it's interested traffic, right? Like you get to see into the mind of the customer a little bit in the sense that you know what they're interested in, you know what they're searching for. And it's these contextual clues that clue you into like their buying intent and therefore whether or not your ad is relevant. And this is also why people looking for products on local marketplaces are really good signals, right? Because if they're searching for sectionals on Facebook Marketplace, like they're probably in a buying mood. And so you can think about the relevance of the audience here to being very similar to the audience that is searching on Facebook Marketplace for products in terms of intent. There are ways of getting in front of that interested search traffic for free, right? You do your organic search, you do your local search. The local search is easier. That's why I highly suggest that you do Google, like a Google My Business, because you can optimize your profile on Google My Business without having to optimize your website and not knowing anything like technology related to do a good job with your GMB. Whereas anything to do with Google Ads and organic search has some technical lift associated with it, particularly organic search. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and create the campaign. This is actually Performance Max. Let's see if I can get out of this. Okay. This is all done. We're going to go ahead and create a search campaign. It's giving me a different view. Hold on. There we go. And Julian, you're Eastern time?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. So you should have gotten an email to your account. So what you need to do is go ahead and create a payments profile. So the reason why I skipped ahead, obviously you guys saw that it asked me to start creating a campaign. The campaign it was asking me to create is called Performance Max. Google is leaning more into this kind of campaign strategy. Basically, you don't control the placements. You upload assets. Those assets could be headlines, text assets like headlines, it could be images, videos. It could be a feed, like a dynamic feed of the products that you have available. And then Google automatically allocates different combinations of those assets across its entire network footprint. And so it'll create ads and place them for you in the Gmail inbox. It'll create ads that show up on YouTube, on Google search, on their generic network of website placements. The reason I don't want to do that is because the thing that I think is probably going to be the highest performance for you, unless you're getting into brand marketing, in which case maybe look at the Performance Max stuff, is just finding people in your local area who are searching for the things that you offer, which are like used couches or used sectionals or affordable couches near me or instant delivery couches, things like that. And so that's why I skipped ahead of the Performance Max thing. Julian, are you able to set up a payments profile? Did you see like an invite to join this account?
I did not. I can go straight to Google Ads and then create an account right now.
Hmm.
Yeah, I didn't get an email or anything.
All right. Well,
Okay.
and then you can always send me an invite to be a manager on your account. I can't set it up for you without putting down a card. And so for our purposes, let's just go ahead and start creating a campaign. And I'll show you guys what that looks like now. So I'm going to give you 2 examples of a campaign. One is for free couch removal. We actually have run a couple of these campaigns already. So we set up campaigns in various cities where we have like flippers who want to receive free couch removal leads. Let's see if I can show you an example. The really important thing about these campaigns is just the landing page. Like I'm going to show you how to set up the campaign and like the keywords and the bidding strategy there. I'm going to tell you it's actually not that complex. The most important thing is where are you sending that traffic to? So once again, it has to be mobile friendly. People don't read that much. And we're trying to get as much information as possible such that we can make a quick assessment of whether or not this is a relevant opportunity or not. So the requirements for filling out the form are actually quite high. And we've run this in various cities like Philadelphia, New York, etc. So we have a pretty good idea of what this performance is going to look like. Cost per lead is somewhere between like $5 and $20 cost per lead for these kinds of campaigns. It really depends on like the city that you're in. New York City, we're generating these leads like left and right, and we're getting like, let's say, quite good leads. I wonder if that's going to work. No, it doesn't. Okay. New York, so here's the one that we were running in Philadelphia. Philadelphia. We're actually running these for the Liebermans at one point. And so the form is pretty robust. We try to keep it like short and sweet. Here's what you get. And then we ask them a lot of questions, right? And I think this is basically all the information that you're going to want to decide if you're going to go pick up this couch or not, right? You could do it another way. The reason the reason we did it this way is because our idea was to kind of run this as like an ad service. I don't think it's going to work. So we would basically obscure the contact information, and then the flipper would see all the photos. They would get to see the retail price, couch age, all of this information, and then they would decide if they want to buy the lead or not. And then we're thinking of like creating an auction for the lead. And that still might happen, but that's why we ask for so much information. If you're running it for yourself, you could ask for less information. Remember, there is a pretty much direct trade-off between how much information you ask for and the probability of conversion. If you're asking for like such little information that you definitely want to be asking for some questions, because I think if you ask for nothing, it's like a little bit suspect as well. Like, why are they asking me nothing? So ask them some things, but you don't have to go as in depth as we did with our form. That's my basic point. Okay, so let's go. I'm going to actually walk you through the setup of this campaign. Yeah, for this campaign, we got 92 conversions with an average cost per conversion $14.52. I imagine that the conversion rate improved as the campaign ran over time. So let's look at a smaller window here. All right, so that's October, and then November, looks like we turned it off. So last month, a bit. Okay, so yeah, performance ranged from like $10 to $14 cost per conversion for this campaign. We may not have had conversion tracking on for this one. Looks like this is the one. Okay. All right, so New York City, we spent around $3,000, and our cost per conversion average across that $3,000 was $9.24. I think Kenju and John were the recipients of these leads. And we, in my experience, we got some pretty good leads. We're seeing couches being posted for all the couch leads are free, right? And then some of these couches were worth like $5,000, $6,000. I think we even had like a $12,000 couch posted at some point. So that's some of the retroactive data we have on this. We this is kind of a known quantity. Like, we know people want free couch removals, and I think you can generate these leads anywhere from $5 to $20. If whether or not you do that, it's a really business model decision, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and set up an example of a campaign. This is the easy part. So I know it seems like I'm belabored, hurry up and create the campaign. The campaign creation is actually the easiest part of this. Google over time has made this simpler and simpler, and luckily for you guys, the AI and they've automated a lot of the interface and a lot of the testing that you used to have to do. And so it really just comes down to selecting the right keywords. Even the ad assets, you don't have to do that much for anymore, because you just go to ChatGPT. You tell them the kind of ad that you want to create and say, spit out 10, 15 headlines, and then it'll just give it to you. And then you put all the headlines into Google, and then Google does all the A/B testing for you. So setting up the campaign is actually quite simple. Okay, so we're gonna select leads. We already have our conversion goals set up. Let's say this is gonna be the hard part. 100%. The hardest part for you guys setting up a campaign on your own is gonna be conversion tracking. So what I said earlier, right, is that the AI machine learning that Google has integrated into their ad products is really good now. But all of that learns based on conversion goals being achieved. So whenever someone takes an action on your website that is desirable, whether it's they bought an item or they filled out a lead form or they called you, you need to close the feedback loop and send that data back to Google to let them know that they're doing a good job. Otherwise, they're not going to train correctly, right? Okay. So I'm gonna say. Okay. Okay, so first thing is when you start out, you do want to max. I would recommend for the bidding goal to do conversions. Don't set a target cost per action because frankly you don't really know what the target cost per action should be. So at first your strategy is going to be maximize conversions, and then over time as you get data, okay, here's what my conversions are costing. If you want to limit that cost, then you enter your CPA. What ends up happening if you select the target CPA before you know what your actual conversion average cost per lead is it'll overly restrict your campaign, and now you're just killing time instead of spending money getting data. And the early stages of any campaign, like you're spending money to get data. I think depending on like the search volume and the cost per click, you're generally looking at spending at least $1,000 before you know what you're doing, right? You spend money, you get data. You spend money, you get data, and then you use that to iterate and improve the campaign. This not strictly necessary. Could be nice, but I wouldn't worry about that either. So here are two options: Google Search Partners Network and the Google Display Network. So it's up to you whether or not you want to include these. I'm not. For example, if I included the Google Search Partners Network, maybe my ads show up on Bing, or what have they specified here? Non-Google websites, park domains, YouTube, other Google sites. And then, yeah, so it's basically like sites where they're partnered with Google, but it's still search-based. And then the Google Display Network, this is literally showing a display ad, so it's like a visual creative type ad on a website somewhere. This can be good if you want to reach like a really broad audience, but let's say you want to keep a tight focus campaign and you want to allocate all of your budget to like people who are doing exactly like a specific action and that you're targeting and putting the ad in front of. It gives more specificity to your budget and your campaign, even though your cost per click is probably going to be more expensive with these toggled off. But I think ultimately it's going to be a good thing. So we're going to type in Fuquay Verena. Julian, I'm guessing you will venture out of Fuquay as well, right?
Yeah.
So what are we looking at? What other locations are relevant to you?
Raleigh's a big one. So Raleigh Durham. Looks like so you selected the Raleigh Durham Fayetteville. Raleigh again, and there's Raleigh, the Raleigh, North Carolina, just the city. Let me actually look at a map. That'd be a little bit easier.
Yeah, you have a toggle here. It's include presence or interest or just presence. Once again, especially at first, you want to have more control and have more understanding of like who your ads are being served to, and then over time, if you want to expand your parameters a bit and try to lower your cost per click, that's okay. So in general, I would say start off, use presence, not presence or interest. The difference is if someone's in Alaska and they're searching for Raleigh, North Carolina, my ad might show up. Whereas for presence, it's going to try and serve the ad to people who are actually in Raleigh, North Carolina. All right, we're going to move on. You can add audience segments here. So what I would recommend is like you could select all these, right? But for now, you're not going to use this for targeting. You're going to use it for observation. So we've run a bunch of campaigns, and so Google is recommending categories, like interest categories that our customers generally fall into. And then we could use that as a layer on top of our actual bidding strategy to try and hone in on those users more. And that's what I mean about like the AI is getting pretty good, right? Like they more than us kind of understand like what people are looking for and have made it easier for us to get in front of people as they're making searches that are relevant to them. Before it used to be like very, very elaborate, like a labyrinth. Yeah, really, it used to be like a labyrinth of testing. Like you'd have an account with 20 campaigns, 30 ad groups per campaign, all with their own like keywords and just turning. It's way easier now. So for this, I would set, you can add in a bunch if you're curious, right? If you have an idea like, oh, I think my my customers are Republicans, I don't know if that's an interest category. Say politics, right? If you have an idea, something. Here's something I think is true about my users. Go ahead, add it as an interest category. Set it for observation, and then over time, you'll actually get data from Google on like who your customers are, right? What interest categories do they fall into? That can be informational for you. It can help you with like your overall strategy, and then it can also be used for targeting down the line. So here it's asking us, do we want to set our keyword strategy to always be broad match, or do we want access to the other keyword match types? And just as a quick explanation, every time a search happens on Google, an auction is triggered, and you bid on keywords. So like, let's say used couch Raleigh is a keyword phrase that I could bid on. And I'm willing to bid up to $3 to show up for whenever someone in Raleigh makes that search. Like I want to show up, right? And I'm willing to pay up to $3. So that's like how the auction system works in general. Now, whether or not my bid is valid for any particular search can also be checked against the kind of match between the keyword and the search phrase. And it sounds a little complicated, but it really is simple. If I have broad match and I bid on the keyword shoes, and someone typed in sneakers, then my bid would trigger on that search for sneakers. because Google thinks that it's closely enough related that, well, he wants shoes, this guy typed in sneakers, your bid is all eligible for that auction. That's what broad match does. It broadly looks at the intent of the bid and matches it to the intent of the keyword. And if it's close enough, they're going to mix together. And then from there, you have, you should know, are phrase match and exact match. There used to be more match types, but the main things are going to be relevant too. Phrase match, exact match, and we'll get more into that as we create the campaign. So I'm going to say off. Once again, you want more control, you want more granularity at first, and then see what results you get, and then be strategic about how you open up your campaign to include other strategies or machine learning or features that Google provides you. But generally, like you want to have a baseline established before you do any of that. Here, automatically created assets. Do you want Google to create the ads for you, or do you want to create the ads yourself? Same logic applies here. We're going to create our ads ourselves. Kind of curious what they create here. Okay, not bad. So now comes the phrase of the phase of actually creating the keywords. So the keywords are what you're bidding on, and then the ads that correspond to those keywords. So at first, I recommend you start with broad match, and then as you get in results from running the campaign, spending money, because the only real data is the data in your ad account that you've paid for. There are tools like Google Keyword Planner where you can do some basic research, but nothing is going to be as good as the data in your account. That's like real data from actually winning auctions, right? So yeah, at first, you're going to go broad match. And then over time, so every time, so this is broad match, right? I just explained what that means. And so this is going to trigger on auctions where the search term is closely related enough to the keyword that I'm bidding on. And as you run the campaign, you can actually see what search terms this is triggered on. And then over time, if you find that this keyword is triggering on a lot of irrelevant search terms, what you would do is add in negative keywords so it doesn't trigger on those irrelevant search terms, or you change the match type, right? So instead of making this broad match, I'm going to come in and I'm going to add quotations around this, and now it's going to be phrase match. And so now this keyword triggers on any search term that has furniture donation somewhere in the string. So if I went to Google and I said furniture donation locations near me, the phrase furniture donation is in this string. And so because I have phrase match enabled for the match type of furniture donation, it would trigger on this search. However, if I said furniture donate, it probably wouldn't trigger, right? Donate furniture near me. I think this also does not trigger on phrase if you have phrase match enabled. So phrase match works similar to exact match. If like very close variations will trigger on exact match. So like, let's say if you have exact match furniture, then it will trigger on furniture. It will also trigger on furnitures. I'm not even sure if furniture is a word, but it's like, this is lexically very similar, right? And so these two will trigger. So that's my basic overview of like what the different match types are. My recommendation here, once again, start broad match, get your data into your campaign, look at the search terms, look at the information that's coming back, and then you can make decisions about what the keywords, keyword match types should be, what negative keywords to add, also what search terms you can add into your campaign as well. So here are just some examples of keywords that might be relevant for someone who's marketing a free pickup service. ChatGPT is your friend. I don't have to think about this anymore. Like, I don't have to think about how to write the ad. I don't even need to think about the keywords. I can just come to ChatGPT. I'm scared of typing in all caps to ChatGPT because one day it's going to become sentient and it's going to be like, this guy's been yelling at me. A little bit of background noise. So I am running.
It didn't work out too well in iRobot.
Yeah, exactly, right? You got to be nice to the AI before it takes over. I want to be on the right side of that. I am creating a Google search campaign to generate free couch removal. Please write some keywords. I could use. All right, great. I'm going to feed in some keywords here. Let's see what ChatGPT comes back with. These new models also incorporate web search. So it's not that all the information is accurate, but it can actually go look through databases and pull information in real time. Whereas like the old models of ChatGPT, like the legacy models, like this one, all the data is like from 2003 and earlier. See what it comes back with. And if not, we'll just move on. AI, once again, it's already filled in different headlines for us. I'm not going to give you guys a lesson on how to create ads. This is the creative part. This is the easy, well, not easy part. This is fun and easier to understand aspect of marketing, right? You have 30 characters. These are all the headlines. So you can see how these headlines and descriptions are combined to create the ad. This is what a Google search ad looks like, right? So these are put together dynamically. Google will test the performance of headlines over time. And in fact, like they'll try to serve the right variation of the right ad to the right person as well. So it's not just a generic like one size fits all. They're actually guessing like, okay, out of these 15 headlines, like which 2 put together are going to work the best for this person. So the testing is getting very advanced. So look, they have already suggested some headlines and descriptions for us. Great. You guys can have fun with this. You can also, I think we broke ChatGPT here, but you can also go into ChatGPT and ask it for headlines and stuff. Give me like all of the components of creating an ad, you can outsource to ChatGPT. And frankly, I wouldn't like sit there and like spend so much time trying to think what is the best marketing copy here. You can go to ChatGPT, you can ask it to adopt the persona of a copywriter, adopt the persona of a performance marketer, etc., and then have it spit out tons of different headlines and descriptions. And then I would just feed it into Google and then just let the Google testing take care of it, right? It's not really worth thinking about so much. The one point I do want to make is you really want to take advantage of these optional assets. So the basic level of putting together an ad, right, is going to be the headline and the description, but you also have other asset types. And so here we have site links. We also have like callouts. I can add in all these callouts. I could create promotions, I could add prices, add a number, structured snippets, etc. I'm not going to go in depth into what all the different asset types are, but my recommendation is that you try to fill out as much as possible when you create your Google Ads. And here's why. So this is what the search engine results page looks like for a search like contact lenses. And because this is like a product that you can sell online, you actually get a shopping feed to the right of it. You're not going to see this on like commercial HVAC, probably. But you probably would see maybe like Google My Business directory somewhere in the middle here, right? But the important thing to note is like out of the gate, it's all sponsored posts. And then after that, it's like Wikipedia, right? Lens.com. So Contacts Direct. These guys are obviously giants at website marketing and SEO. Look at the difference between this ad and this ad. And this is not just a function of their bidding more to win the auction. Like they have fully, because of all the assets they've added to their ad for certain placements, it's giving them more real estate. So they don't have to pay more to they pay what they pay to occupy the first slot on the page. And that's actually like a bid setting that you can set up, right? But once you win that spot, you don't have to pay more to get more real estate. You just have to fully utilize the assets that are available to you. And sometimes it'll fill in those assets. I'm trying to explain this simply, but you're paying every time you like win an auction on Google. What you're paying for is space on this page on a user's browser. Think of it like a billboard, right? Do you want to have more space on that billboard or less space on the billboard? Utilize your assets. You can get things like your product images. You can call out different aspects of your website. You can bring them to different pages. You can offer a deal. You can offer a coupon code, right? This is why you use assets. You create a more rich, interactive ad experience, and you get more real estate. You're already paying for it. You might as well get what you pay for. That's my basic spiel about that. All right. So now let's go to budget. What do I recommend for budget? With Google Ads, it's either time or money. So if it's as simple as that. If you want to learn really quickly, spend more money quickly. If you want to learn a little less quickly, if you want to learn more slowly, spend less money. I think at first, if you haven't run Google Ads before, you want to be conservative because this is something that you need to iterate on. And that means once you set up the campaign, at first you should be checking it every day. You should check it every day because you're spending money, and there's easily little pitfalls in this interface where you could click a setting and just be draining budget and have no idea. However, you should also expect that you're not really going to get results for at least a couple days, or at least a week, right? It takes time to spend the money and make the iteration and have the campaign improve before you can say it's working or not. I think for a pickup campaign, you could spend $500 to $1,000 pretty easily and see decent results on a monthly basis, depending on the city that you're in. If you're in a big metro area, anywhere between $5-15, $5-20 is what you're going to expect. If you're in a quiet mountain town, I don't think anyone's in it. Oh, could be. I don't know. It might be a little bit more expensive, but maybe inventory is a little bit harder to come by in your neck of the woods. I don't know. Every city is going to have its own sort of geographic uniqueness. Yeah. So that's my thought about budget. Here we have some estimation. Whatever. Okay. So I'm going to discard this. Okay, I'm going to unmute everyone. Any questions? This is my basic walkthrough of how I would go about setting up a Google Ads campaign. Yeah, and Darren, to answer your question, they didn't pay extra money to get those pictures to show there. What they have is they have a dynamic product feed. So they have all the products that they have on their website that you can purchase. They've integrated that into the Google Ads interface. And so Google is actually pulling products off their website and dynamically showing them to visitors that are viewing the ads. And you can do the same thing too. And you can have those show up on the Google Ads interface, the search engine results page. But more likely, if you're doing that, you're going to use something called a Performance Max campaign, which is a kind of display advertising. And those products are going to be served across the Performance Max network.
Got it. Is it possible to have the product images show up in the keyword search campaigns without doing a Performance Max campaign, or do you have to do Performance Max to get the images to show up there?
So if you want the images to show up in search, you'd have to create a search campaign.
Oh, okay. So you don't have to do performance max to get images to show up in search, because that would be ideal.
Yeah, my point being, the only way you can get images to show up in search is if you have a search campaign. Like they have many other placements, right? They have, I don't know, hundreds of millions, if not billions of placements. Some of and probably like 10, I don't know, 20% of those placements are on the search network. The display network is far bigger. All right, anyone, any questions?